What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. We got a quick one here, but it's just breaking now. Rees Mogg claims EU law could get around the Benn Act as Queen opens Parliament. Now, a lot of you will know that I've spoke about this many times before, and so has many other Brexit supported channels, so it's no surprise to us, but it's good to see Rees Mogg saying it on BBC Radio 4. So let's check out what the Telegraph has to say about it. Rees Mogg claims the government could use European law to secure a no-deal Brexit if there is no agreement with Brussels, signalling a potential way around the Benn Act or surrender bill. The leader of the House said that it takes two to tango and any extension has to be agreed by the Council. Theresa May got an extension not through UK law but through EU law, and until the 1972 European Communities Act is repealed, EU law is superior law in the UK, he said on BBC Radio 4's Westminster Hour. UK and EU officials will resume talks in the Belgian capital today with the prospects of an agreement in time for Britain to leave with a deal on October the 31st hanging in the balance. Meanwhile, the state opening of Parliament has concluded, as you see in my live stream, with the Queen delivering the government's legislative agenda. It contains legislation to keep criminals in prison for longer, impose tougher sentences on foreign offenders who return to the UK, and provide better protection for victims of domestic abuse. Along with, of course, the Queen saying it is the government's intention to deliver Brexit by the 31st of October. So that's partially good news. Let's hope they stick to that word, and let's hope it's a real Brexit, not some rehashed Maybot deal. But anyway, like I said, it's good to hear Rees Mogg saying this out now, because that's probably one of the most high-profile people that has actually told these idiots we can use EU law to get around the Benn Act, or the Surrender Act as it should always be known. It should never be called the Benn Act. It should be called the Surrender Act, nothing else. Now I'm going to play the clip from last night's BBC Radio 4 programme that featured Rees Mogg saying what the article has quoted. So let's check it out.
Jacob, Tom says you don't agree with that idea.
Well, I do agree with his thought that it's going to be a very interesting week for constitutionalists who will have plenty to talk about by the time they get to their Sunday lunch. But I think that the EU, as I was saying earlier, can act swiftly under pressure, and that the 31st is a really proper deadline, that the Prime Minister's made it absolutely clear that we will leave by the 31st of October. I think that's what the whole nation now wants us to do. They want this issue finished, they want it settled, and therefore there is great urgency, and the EU and the UK will have to move very quickly to make that work.
But we still don't know how he could leave without a deal, do we? If no deal is agreed, when you've got the piece of legislation, the law of the land says that if there is no deal by the 19th, then Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, has to seek an extension from the EU.
That's a very interesting speculation on what the law of the land is, but unfortunately, or fortunately it may turn out, the law of this land is subject to the law of the European Union currently. So we'll have to see what the legal eagles think.
So you're saying that Boris Johnson could take his case to the European courts to see through Article 50? All
I'm saying is that Theresa May got an extension not through UK law, but through EU law. And until the 1972 European Communities Act is repealed, EU law is superior law in the UK. And the Remainers know that, the Remainiacs all know that, because they know that it takes two to tango, and any extension has to be agreed by the Council. And so the legal questions are sometimes oversimplified, I think.
Jenny, is this Jacob giving us a clue as to how they think they might get around the Act?
I think Jacob's making stuff up. I honestly don't know what you're talking about. I think it's quite clear what the Benn Act says, and I think Boris Johnson understands that too and has given that assurance to the court. So quite where Jacob's going, I'm not sure. He's had a long day. I don't know whether he has some special insight that nobody else has yet landed on. I don't think so, though.
Well, there you go. There was the actual clip that this article is talking about. And you heard there at the end the Labour bin saying that Jacob's wrong and he's just making it up and no one's been speaking about this. Sorry, love. Me and plenty of other YouTubers have been speaking about it for a while now. So, yep, people are speaking about it. It's just the first time you're hearing it on the mainstream media. And you could tell by her voice, she was a little bit worried about that. So, yeah, I'd say she knows that that's a possibility, or maybe she don't know and she'll be checking later. Well, since this was last night, she's probably already checked. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end the video there. I want to thank the channel's PayPal, Patreon and Subscribe Star members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
Parliament is a dead parliament. It should no longer sit. It has no moral right to sit on these green benches. They don't like the truth. Twice they have been asked to let the electorate decide upon whether they should continue to sit in their seats, while they block 17.4 million people's votes. This Parliament is a disgrace, but they're too cowardly to give it a go. But the time is coming. The time is coming, Mr. Speaker, when even these turkeys won't be able to prevent Christmas.
And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going and we are glad to be going. We're off.